we all dress up pretty good.
Yeah, except
The guy in the end.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Good.
I thought I looked good.
Yeah, you do look good.
Just, kind of springy out. I thought it'd lighten it up. No, look like
I gotta go to the funeral this afternoon. We had a long-time teacher in St. Pat's
I saw that.
County030512 passed away at 64 years old, had cancer. Yeah. I came down today just to, I know Judge Walters was down a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, to visit about some new legislation, and I just kind of wanted to explain to you, because she kind of referred to the magistrature in favor of one position and district judge in favor of the other, and I wanted to make sure that you kind of understood that's not exactly, I don't think we're at odds with each other. There's a new bill that is being introduced, 422, which talks about the chief judge has the authority to appoint a pro tem judge. That has always been true. Here's the bill, and as you can see, what they're wanting to do, I have a lot of information because I kind of helped on asking about this bill about a year ago. We wanted to have Judge Bennington, who's retired, come up to Barton County and help us out on a docket day. We had one of our judges was gone, so Judge Bennington had always said, hey, I'll come up and help. Well, I was going to appoint him, couldn't get a hold of our departmental justice. Out here in our part of the country, we have one of the Supreme Court justices is a departmental justice. He's in charge of all the western third of Kansas. So I had to call him, because the way the statute reads now, I have to get permission upon the application of the chief judge, and I guess I'm the chief judge, to the departmental justice. I can ask that we have a pro tem appointed. Like when all the judges go to Topeka for meetings, we have to have someone here appointed in case Sheriff Parr needs a search warrant, or the county attorney takes a kid out of the house. You've got 2 days to get them have a first appearance. So we'll appoint Rod Lyons, or we used to appoint Emerson, and they would be available since there's no judges around. Also, Judge Bennington, anyway, I asked him to come up and help us out. I couldn't get a hold of our Department of Justice. They were in conferences. Judge Bennington's very meticulous and said, well, maybe I better not do it since we don't have the written permission to allow us to do it. So I called our Supreme Court and said, why can't I just make that decision? I mean, I ought to be able to call and say, let's appoint Rod Lyons, or let's appoint whoever, rather than go through you guys. You know, you guys don't need to micromanage. They got to thinking and said, okay. And then the other thing I know Judge Walters pointed out or was worried about is that subject to budget limitations of the district court, the chief judge may appoint a judge within the judicial district. We have always had in our budgets, when we bring them down to you guys, a line item that says pro tem judges. It's always been like $400. Since 2005, we have never used that. We've never paid a pro tem judge. Usually the attorneys are very good and say, we didn't do anything, don't pay us. So that has always been in the bill. There's nothing new there. The only thing new is it doesn't make me call Topeka and say, hey, can you send me a fax thing that says I can appoint somebody as the judge? I thought it's ridiculous that I have to call my departmental justice to do that. You know, Judge Walters has occasionally, her dad's been sick. We have a judge up in Ellsworth. He just had a cracked vertebrae, called me on a Thursday morning, said, I can't be here. Judge Clark comes in occasionally to Barton County and says, the weather's, we've got ice, I can't get here. So if I can't cover, or Judge Kitts can't cover, we have to have someone appointed to help out. Like in Stafford County, this has never been a problem. I'm trying to alleviate your fears that this bill is going to cost Stafford County hundreds of thousands of dollars, or hundreds of dollars. It's not going to cost anything, but I don't believe. All it does is takes out the fact that I have to call and get permission from the Supreme Court to appoint somebody. It gives me the authority, or whoever the chief judge is, to just appoint somebody. Now, we do have to pay for it. If we have someone extra come in, if Judge Walters wasn't here and I couldn't cover, Judge Kitts couldn't cover, if we had Rod Lyons and he charged us $100, we would pay him out of that. Now, I think what has happened is perhaps in Sedgwick County or perhaps in Johnson County, they may appoint an attorney to come over and handle the limited actions docket rather than, for some reason, they pay him out of that. I don't know if that's if the magistrates are afraid of that or whatever, but I guess I just don't see this as being any kind of an issue. I don't see it being any kind of a financial issue or an economic burden. We've gone back. Mary Gatton 2 years ago even took we put pro tem judges, we put 0 because we haven't paid anybody for 7 years out of our budget. I don't know what the concern is. I thought that part, 422 bill, I don't think is an issue at all throughout the state or even here. Now, it may be somewhere, but I don't believe it is. I think the bigger issue that is a concern is that there is a possible repeal of 1 judge per county, which for the last 3 or 4 years has been on the legislative radar. The legislature feels like that that needs to be repealed. I think that began in like 72 or 73. That there was a push 2 years ago and even last year to eliminate that by the legislature. That I think comes from an urban push because the urban judges feel like they have 500 cases per year and the rural judges have 100 cases per year. So they think that they should eliminate judges in certain counties. Again, I don't think we're talking about here in this central part of the state. I think we're actually talking probably western Kansas. What we believe is western Kansas, Topeka believes it by western. Junction is western Kansas. I mean, but the governor last year had talked with the Chief Justice Nelson, said, look, we are looking at all government agencies, we're looking at all branches of government, and we are going to probably make some cuts. We want you, as the head of the judicial branch, to take a look at the judicial branch and determine whether you think there are any inefficiencies. And we all know there's probably inefficiencies everywhere. Therefore, he did this weighted caseload studies, kind of been in the paper. There's a blue ribbon committee. This committee recommended, and there was like 35 people of attorneys, judges, businessmen, political legislators, senators. This was the whole committee. They went in and reviewed it and looked at everything. And Governor Brownback had asked that that be looked at. There are some areas that perhaps there's not as much cases in some cases. And therefore the Supreme Court said, look, if we're going to reallocate positions, whether it be clerks, clerk personnel, judges, court reporters, we think since we are in charge of the judicial branch, we should be the ones to reevaluate and do that. Rather than let the legislature just say, okay, Hodgman County, Gove County, they don't have enough people, we're cutting the judges, we're just closing the clerk's office. The Supreme Court said, we want to be able to look at that because we don't want to have someone from Hodgman have to drive to Ellis County or Dodge City, drive 100 miles to get to the courthouse. The district judge's position, the committee, is we believe that the Supreme Court should be in charge of the judicial branch rather than the legislature being in charge of the judicial branch. That's why we have 3 branches of government. I don't know if this bill is going to pass. If it does, what it would do is say, okay, Supreme Court, you look around, you decide whether we should move a magistrate 1 week a month to Sedgwick to help them out from Gove County or not. I do not believe there is an ultimate plan to eliminate judges, whether it be a district judge or a magistrate judge in the state of Kansas. This committee, Blue Ribbon Committee, made recommendations that the state of Kansas has approximately the appropriate number of judges. They do say some areas need more help than other areas. It also says we want to make sure that some areas have access to the court so that they don't have to drive to, which, like, the federal court. I mean, if you wanted to consolidate, you do it like the federal court. You have 3 courts, Topeka, Kansas City, and Wichita. And you have to go there to hear a federal case. And nobody wants that. The Blue Ribbon Committee recommended, in fact, that you increase the ratio of magistrate judges to district judges, so that you have 2 people who can handle, you know, some of the traffic cases, the limited cases, those type of cases. The concern is from certain magistrates in some areas that they're going to lose their jobs. I don't think that's going to occur, you know, but I do think there's going to be cuts, and I think I would rather have the Supreme Court, so I can call in and say, you know, don't eliminate this position. We got to have people in this part of the country with the court system. That's my summary of it. I think something's probably going to happen. I don't know if it'll happen this year, and if this bill doesn't pass to give the Supreme Court the authority, then I don't know if next year, if the legislature just say, look, we got to cut your budget, we're going to eliminate positions. I think that would be a bad thing, because I don't think they should be handling it. I think people who understand the court system ought to be the ones doing it. And you know, as you guys know, not everybody likes your decision, not everybody likes my decisions, not everybody likes the Supreme Court's decisions, or the legislators' decisions. But in this tough day and age, there will probably be some cuts. So I just kind of wanted to explain that to you and explain why I didn't want you being concerned that there was going to be a big increase in cost by this pro tem thing. I don't think that has any bearing at all. I think that the only reason that was passed was to allow the judges, chief judges in the counties, to just appoint somebody rather than have to go through and get permission from their Supreme Court justice.
I think our concern, and hers was accessibility to having a judge available in there.
And that's the one judge per county. And that's why, again, I think, her and I, we've talked about this, and I told her I was going to be down here today. I didn't know, she'd come in, or we'd probably come in together, but yeah, I agree, and I think that's why it's important for the Supreme Court to handle it rather than the legislature to make the cuts, because the legislature, and that's where she and I disagree. She thinks that perhaps there's a plan by the Supreme Court to eliminate judges in western Kansas. I think they are the ones that want to keep the accessibility of the courts open. And if they don't, then I can call, or a judge can call and say, hey, you can't close this, that means we're going to have to go 2 hours away to get to the courts. I don't think the Supreme Court wants to eliminate it as much as perhaps maybe the legislature, who doesn't understand that you got to have access to courts. But again, that's kind of disagreement among judges, whether it's magistrate, district, Supreme Court, everybody. No one knows for sure. I don't know if the Supreme Court knows for sure. A lot of it will depend upon the funding of the legislature. If they would just fund the Supreme Court, you know, we get like 1.5% of the total general budget comes to the judicial branch. Yet we're always getting nickel and dime, as everybody is. I mean, it's not just you guys. And, you know, one of the big things is that there was a big recommendation that technology, you know, so that Stafford County could, rather than send your sheriff down to Hutch, pick up a juvenile for a 5-minute hearing, you could get on the computer, Skype it, do all this, which is great in theory, but again, somebody has to pay for all of those lines, and the state doesn't want to pay for it. They do want to dump it back on local people. Just like education, you know. They're going to cut education and say, well, you guys can raise the mill levy and fund your schools. I'd rather fund it through 5 million people in Kansas rather than 10,000 people in Stafford County.
That's overinflated. That's overinflated.
Whatever. Sure. But, you know, that, so I'm afraid, you know, that way the state can say, we've cut taxes and we've cut expenses, but you guys, local people are going to have to pick it up. I don't know. I think technology would be a great thing. I'd rather be able to get on the line and talk to everybody in Russell and Stafford and Rice, but again, that's going to have to be paid for somehow. And I don't know, to hook everybody up, link everybody up statewide, I am not a computer guy, but I know that can't be easy and it can't be cheap. Do you guys have any questions? Or
I'm kind of concerned that two intelligent people read the same thing. They have two almost opposing interpretations of it.
Yeah.
makes me concerned. I'm not sure I'm smart enough to understand what's really going on if you guys have different points of view.
Well-
that are that different, I mean,
And that's why I brought the
She
Senate bill
basically
down.
is saying, that the purpose of this is to eliminate magistrate judges.
I think the magistrate judges feel that way. They think the Supreme Court is out to get them. And I can honestly tell you, I don't know why she and I argue about this. I do not know why she thinks that. But she's on a district magistrates committee with mostly people in western Kansas. The 3 or 4 officers are from western Kansas. And they think that the Supreme Court wants to eliminate magistrate judges. And I am not sure.
You don't agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
You don't think this legislation says that, or allows that, or?
I think it could allow it. Yeah, I do think the one judge per, I don't think the pro tem thing has any, I don't think that's nothing.
Right.
I think the one judge per county, eliminating that, could be. Yeah, that is a possibility. But the thing that bothers me about that is, this is the first time the Supreme Court has asked that this be passed to give, and in their bill it says we want to eliminate the one judge per county statute and give us as the Supreme Court the authority to reallocate judges or whatever. One, I'm not sure they even need that. The Constitution says the judges, judicial branch shall be run by the one Supreme Court. It already says that in Kansas. The reason I think the Supreme Court did that this year, now my thinking is, and I've talked to her, my thinking is, for 3 or 4 years now, the legislature has tried to eliminate that, to do that same statute. They've tried to repeal it. And I think when they repeal it, their intent was, we repeal it, there's not enough cases being heard in Gove County, we're going to eliminate funding for that position. That's an easy way for us to cut expenses.
It's pretty easy to interpret it that way.
And that's where I think the legislature does interpret. I think they would do that. That's why I think the Supreme Court stepped in and said, no, let us be in charge of it. Because we're not going to let you just eliminate judges in western Kansas. Because you can't drive, therefore you have no access to courts.
Right.
That's why I think the Supreme Court wants to be in charge rather than the legislature be in charge.
So you're telling us to trust the Supreme Court?
That's it. That's the bottom line. Who do you trust? That's the bottom line. My position is, of course, I'm a judge. I trust the Supreme Court more than I trust. I trust 7 people more than I trust 240 people, some of which have no idea what the court system even is about.
Right.
And that's exactly right, Patrick. I don't know. I guess I could get screwed. And it doesn't, and when it says one judge per county, it's not just talking about magistrates. There are some, the way it's read, there are district judges also. Within that same statute, it says we can move district judges, eliminate, right now in our 5 counties, you have to have 2 judges from Great Bend and 1 from an outlying county. They've eliminated that provision in the same proposed bill, which means you could have 3 judges from Barton, you could have 3 judges from Stafford or whatever. They wouldn't have to be in one particular county. They're just saying, we're the guys in charge, we want to be in charge, trust us. And I don't know. And there's a lot of distrust. I don't want to say a lot, because there are several magistrates that are in support of this legislation. There are some that aren't, some are. There's some district judges that are, some of them aren't. So it's not it's a trust issue. Who do you trust? Who do you want to be in control of handling the courts, the judicial branch?
Well, is it an urban versus rural issue?
Yeah, it's an urban versus rural also. I don't disagree with that. Urban people think they need way more positions, and that the rural doesn't. They don't take into account the access to courts. I do believe that. And then the bad thing about that is, if we get into a fight with that, the votes do not support the rural people. Us. And we are rural, even though we're not western Kansas. We're still way rural. So I agree with her on that. I guess I just say, on my position, I support the Supreme Court. And that's all the district judges do. We say we support the Supreme Court to handle the judicial branch. It doesn't say that we support them to eliminate anybody. or any judges, because that is not true. Our magistrates do a great job, especially here. I just think someone's going to get axed by either by the legislature because they're only interested in money. And I'd rather have our Supreme Court handling it than them, but I don't know. So, anyway, you know, I guess we may not know. Right now, this second bill, repealing one judge per county, is in limbo. From what I understand, I'm going to Topeka on Friday. I'm on a committee, and I will be informed more of that on Friday. I'm sure Judge Walters and I will be in contact, because she's on a committee, goes up to Topeka, and I think right now they're discussing it. No one knows whether it's going to get passed or not this year. I think the other one will get passed. The pro tem one, I think, is probably going to get passed because
The 411?
yeah, or 422.
Or 422.
Yeah, 422 I think will be. 423 is really the real political one, and that may or may not be, and that is more the urban-rural issue. Because the urban says, hey, you guys in western Kansas don't do anything, you just need to eliminate about half the western Kansas courthouses and stuff, and I don't think that's appropriate, obviously. So.
It's not gonna save the state enough money to worry about.
No.
That's frustrating.
That's what's so frustrating with me and our group.
And how valuable is justice to even one person?
That's exactly right.
The ability to, you know.
Justice denied is an absolutely horrible thing. The big, like you just said, we're less than 2% of the whole total general budget. We're $105 million out of a $15 billion budget, and they nickel and dime and screw around with the justice system instead of just saying, here's your $105 million, go do what you're supposed to do with it.
Right. Yeah, it seems.
It's just frustrating. That is the frustrating part of it. Because if you let, you know, unfortunately, who controls the money controls a lot, and that's why the legislature says that's what my conflict has been with the legislature. Just give us the money, let us run our system, do it right. It's not broken. You know, this report said things are going well. You've got approximately the appropriate number of people, judges and clerks and everybody. You've got courthouse where everybody can drive within 20 miles and get to a courthouse. Just quit messing around with it. But
Fix the things that are broke.
anyway, guys, I'll keep you updated. Judge Walters will too, and you know, she and I visit and talk, so we don't always agree, but we still discuss things.
That makes the world go around.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. How you guys? Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, our KDOT agreement to treat master suites on the KDOT right away. You're the one that's doing all the clicking. I wish you'd stop on that.
Why?
It bothers me. Briggs, he's trying to.
When you going to Emporia? Thursday?
They don't play till 8:15, so we have to be till late. I'm thinking Friday.
But the same terms, basically.
Yes, I did the cost. I raised the cost $2 an hour, considering that I think diesel's going to be quite expensive this summer.
Sounds like it.
But labor cost and everything I kept the same.
Any problems? I think motion we accept this agreement with the Kansas Department of Transportation in Sarah County.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded, we accept this agreement with KDOT. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
So you have to sign it?
Yeah, it just takes the one signature over here.
Here.
Yep.
You need,
Stop it. Thank you.
All right. That's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Invet's blooming.
Yes, it is. It's doing well.
tell the difference between henbit, which is henbit, which is chickweed?
Henbit is the purple flower, and chickweed is the white flower. And it's a little, and the chickweed's more of a little tiny, it's a tiny,
And it is purple.
and it's purple.
So it goes from dormancy to blooming.
Yes.
When are you supposed to kill it?
Well, usually in the fall is the best.
Too late now.
Well, I mean, it is, it's easy to spray in the fall, but you can spray it now. I mean, but you need to use
Is it
a,
absorbing it now? I mean, will it kill it now,
Yeah,
like 2,4-D or whatever?
well, 2,4-D doesn't kill it, you need the dicamba.
It slows it down.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't kill it. You need a little dicamba. The Trimec has 3 different salts on 2,4-D that'll do it, but just 2,4-D itself usually won't. But yeah, you can get it now. It just, but everything's a couple weeks ahead. I mean, it's
Supposed to be 70 days, got to be farther ahead up to.
yes,
If we get a rain this week, we will really take it.
yeah. Hopefully we'll get a rain this week. Hopefully we'll get a rain without all the other weather parts that come with it. That's what scares me. Our rain's going to be coming.
I ain't afraid of tornadoes, not anymore. Just whatever.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
I'm so sick of them, I don't even care. That lives his whole life, I'm very soft.
I know. We've been to it down there.
And it's like,
This,
every
this
tornado.
judge, he left his paper, whatever it is.
Morning.
Morning,
Morning,
Steve.
Good.
Morning. I just have a couple things. The first one, there's a advanced public information officer class that I'd like to attend that is in Emmitsburg, Maryland. That's a governmental paid for class. Both travel and the class itself is all covered. So it is a 3-day class back in Emmitsburg, Maryland. But it's in July, and what you do is you have to give them 2 different choices. So July and September would be the 2 choices that, and I'm taking the basic class over here in Pratt this next week. So this would be mostly along the lines of emergency management. So if we had something significant here, just give a little bit better training to being able to handle the information dissemination between all the different agencies.
Go all the way to Maryland?
All the way to Maryland, that's where the Emergency Management Institute and the National Fire Academy is at. Seems logical that they'd make one, or develop one and establish one a little closer out here in the Midwest, but as of present, they don't have it. But they pay for the travel and all that, but it does require a signature, if that's something that you'd want to do.
I make a motion, we allow Steve to go to the training. Are you gonna go in,
It's whichever one they decide.
or what
July
they
or
just, it's
September.
not your decision?
No.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the state go to training in July or September. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's see your signatures right there, and then print the title over here. And then if I could have probably just 5 minutes for executive session to visit about non-elected personnel.
Okay, I make a motion, we go into 5-minute executive session to discuss non-elected personnel.
I second it.
Been moved and seconded, we go into executive session for 5 minutes for non-elected. All in favor? Morning, Lisa.
I have a real fancy quote here for you. This is from Randy, our IT guy, but we need 6 new drives for our backups on our servers. I'm down to 3, and I had 6 to begin with, and they've just, after a bunch of use, you know, they just give out. So the quote is 1,000.
70?
Yeah. And that'll purchase 6 new drives. That'll give me a Monday through Friday and 1 backup for our server backups.
How much was it?
$1,071.
$1,070.
$1,070. I'll make a motion, we go ahead and allow Lisa to make these purchases from Randy for $1,070 for 6 drives.
He said he apologized for his form of his.
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, we allow the purchase of these drives for $1,070. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where'd Doris go? Did she leave?
No, she's out there.
Doris?
My turn?
You're up.
Step to it, girl.
Hello.
Come on.
We're Cameron.
We got vaccine to get out?
We do?
Yeah, flu vaccine.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of it. I'm still waiting.
For what?
Oops, I don't
Next year.
Wait for the flu season.
They keep looking at me like, one of these days I'm gonna get one. Then I'll probably get sick as a dog.
Did you get sick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get sick? Go to health or what? Okay, I wanted to talk to you some about the community health grant that I'm required to do for funding, basically. Both the hospital and health departments are required to do community health grant, community health assessment this year. Hospitals are supposed to do theirs every 3 years. Health departments every 5. Basically, I think it's the same format, same theory. So I've talked to Todd once about it, and I sent him an email the other day, and I haven't heard back from him. But I think they want this pretty much completed by the end of August. It's time-consuming, and it's going to take some funding. And to that end, there is a small, I don't know, small, depending on your point of view, $4,000 mini grant available from KDHE and some other sources. Basically, what I need to do is get some commitment from some of the area businesses, school district, economic development. I've already talked to her. Emergency management. And they have to commit to participate, and then we have to tell them where we're at in our grant, or in our health assessment. And then there's only 12 of these to be given out. I have to have them by the 16th of March.
Yeah, it's got one short.
Yeah.
What have you been waiting for?
I know.
Sounds like something I do.
Yeah. So which one of you county or city elected officials would like to be involved? I could even be you. You're a county elected.
She's not.
So.
Don't
Anyway.
point no fingers.
What
at
is
me.
it?
You look at me.
What is it?
Had enough help.
I've been getting a lot of information about things in Stafford County, and I know you've seen some of these. And I've talked to you a little bit about,
I can put some,
I did. You can talk into it.
no, I'm no point.
anyway, I've been
Either.
What
printing off,
information?
huh?
No?
What information?
Oh, I've got this county profile that's kind of interesting, and it talks about hospital beds, which is interesting because it said we had 95 in 2001. Where'd they get all these hospital beds?
It's probably all those used ones they had thrown, taken
Well,
to the
that's
recycling
the only
center.
2 years we ever had that many. Went from 33 to 20 to 95 to 95, and then it's been 25 the rest of the time. And then it talks about income, population, population demographics. That's interesting, and then I think you guys have probably seen this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the health domains of where we rank and what our percentages are for several things. I have all kinds of stuff to work with. If I really knew what I was doing, I'd feel better. I really don't know what I'm doing. It has to be some kind of a community survey, whether it's a written survey that's mailed out, whether it's public meetings, or whether it's focus groups, whatever we have. That grant requires at least 4 meetings, and it pays for a facilitator to come out and help with technical assistance, which would be fantastic. Pays for like meeting rooms, meals, travel.
Can we do this in conjunction with the hospital? Are they
Well, that's what I'm
going through
trying,
this too?
they're gonna have to.
So,
K-State has assistance available for someone to come out to help facilitate and technical assistance, and coincidentally, they charge about $4,000. And that's $4,000.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
They do have these from K-State. And I've talked to Dr. Leatherman at K-State about it, and he sent me a PowerPoint. That's pretty interesting. So, on how to get started, I guess. Here it is.
So what is it you have to have by the 16th of March?
A commitment on that, Graham.
Oh, a commitment.
Yeah. I just have to send that in.
Oh.
But I have to have signatures of people that have said that they would be willing to participate.
Well, I was looking this one, maybe the Minister Alliance would be one.
Yeah.
Faith-based
I can
organization.
get a faith-based person pretty quick.
And you need how many?
Well, as many as I can get,
17?
maybe. Carolyn told me she'd participate. I don't think it's really going to be a problem getting people to sign their names, just when the time comes. Are they gonna-
They don't have the time to.
So you need a county or a city elected official?
Mhm.
you're volunteering now?
No, I thought
Actually,
maybe
you know,
Radium.
it says community health assessment. That's
Is it people
for,
Radium or Seward?
that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to really have a countywide
He said clever.
base on this thing, not a community base.
Right,
Yeah. The community needs to be the whole county.
right.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. Somebody from the northern part of the county should be.
Well, do you think Farrah would do it?
Well, I think Drew would be a good candidate.
Well,
Drew, John Drew.
Oh, I know.
Had an email from him this morning.
what about, well,
What do you think? Drew who? John
John
Drew.
Drew, I went out when his house burned up, maybe he remembers now.
He was the one that was so angry.
like Farah or Fancher, what's her name?
Tracy.
Tracy.
Is she an elected official?
No, she
She
isn't.
is.
No, I'm sorry.
No, she's not
That
elected.
doesn't do that. Okay.
They have to be elected. They can't,
Yeah.
they're not a board member or something like that. Because she's on the hospital.
No, it says either
Well,
city
It
or
says
county.
elected.
Here's
Yeah.
just kind of what I just penciled in.
Well, Farah is an elected official. She
This
was-
is another copy, and that's just what I penciled in for people to ask.
Oh,
But I hesitate asking
But
Farah to.
after I did that, I thought I need to go more
She
countywide than
gets a little
I have.
overburdened and I don't know where she's at with her mom, actually. So, I mean, doesn't hurt to ask.
I don't know.
Getting.
okay. No, I wasn't being facetious, I was being
Well, I
dead
know,
serious.
you
that
do
we
at
need-
that point, I agree. Yeah, we need to involve that part of the county.
So is there an elected official in Seward?
Yeah, Farah is
Farah.
elected, they haven't, they're incorporated. And they have-
Anyone from Radian that's,
Seward's
Are they still
incorporated?
incorporated? Seward's, of course it's incorporated. I think Radium still is too. They have a city council and you meet monthly, I guess.
I
I'm not
don't
sure.
know what that
Anyhow, yeah, guess that would qualify, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'll ask
And
her.
I'm not sure who saves Radium.
Is it Roger Gray, some Gray? Gary Gray. Gary, whatever his name.
Really?
Joanne Clark is the,
Clerk.
is she the treasurer or the clerk?
No,
Is that her name?
Joanne wouldn't be bad.
she's not elected. You have to be the mayor or council in the city. Teresa Jeffers is on the council.
I'm not sure who else is on the
Teresa
council.
might be pretty good.
I was thinking Teresa.
She knows, yeah, she knows healthcare. Anyway, this is
Well,
gonna
it's
be
a
a lot of
thought.
time.
Not that I'm passing the buck or anything.
Well, we could go to the Hudson area and look for some people there.
I'm gonna, she's
Yeah,
gonna
very
really try to
great
get this
mayor.
done by, today's the 5th,
Well,
14th or
take
something,
care of
whatever
it.
day of 14th is.
Joanne Clark's the clerk.
So what
She's
you
done.
See, it says-
Susan Gray, Teresa Deathridge, Susan Simmons, Ben Spicer, Angie
old
Gray.
Yes.
I asked her what
Over
happened,
at
that doesn't go.
Sewer, Darren Woodward, Mitch Jones,
Make sure
Shirley
it's going.
Schwartz,
Yeah.
Apply anyway.
Tony Urban, Dave
Oh, yeah.
Wilson.
So we helped you any?
You just know what's going on, you just have to know what's going on. So I guess the administrator in Barton County only got rid of those community health assessments.
Oh, they did?
Who gave you the authority to go out and do this assessment? Or do you think you get the authority to go do it? I'm fine, I won't do it.
Whoa.
I won't do it. I wasn't gonna do it at first, because I thought, I don't care if I don't credit it, and then when they put funding on the end of the accreditation, you don't have a choice. It's supposed to be voluntary, it's not voluntary. If you
I
want
believe it.
funding.
There's a lot of things that ask you
Yeah.
to document your needs when you
Yeah, and it's just gonna
make
get
an
worse.
application, and if you
It's
don't have
gonna be
something like
worse.
that in place that shows you the statistics
She's
of why.
exactly right. That's the way it's gonna be from now on.
It was like the issue of seat belts. The state didn't pass the law, then they wouldn't even get any federal funding for
True.
the highways.
See, it's just
So
all
it's-
rolls downhill, basically. I'm gonna work on this, so if you hear anybody say something.
Well, if you need help, call me.
Well, the other thing I wanted to show you, and I don't want you to mention the name of this county, they have 3,300 people in their county, they have 7 health departments. I just want you to know how efficient.
I know.
Think
Are
it's
they
crazy.
sick a lot? What the world
They don't
could
do anything
do?
we don't do, except it says they do non-Medicare home health, and I don't know exactly what that means, but they don't mention daycare.
So do you need for us to get a hold of somebody for you?
For what?
For the-
Oh, no, I'll take care of it. I just want you guys to know what's gonna be going on, we can have that, it's interesting. Barber County's in there too. I don't know what the population of Barber County is.
Well, they built 2 hospitals, aren't they?
Huh?
That's what they voted on.
Who, Barber?
Barber.
Well, one in Medicine Lodge, the commissioner
In Kiowa.
knocked down.
In Kiowa.
And Kiowa may be getting it correct, but not Medicine Lodge.
Well,
The vote went
Yeah,
toward
the
the
vote
hospital,
went
but I
for-
thought the commissioners
well, they,
vetoed the vote
yeah,
or something.
they did. They're gonna remodel it instead
Yeah,
of,
and Pratt's trying to get a new hospital too.
yeah.
Okay, I guess that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. She's big.
I'm done.
She's done.
Okay. Some of what I have isn't all that far removed from what yours is working on, I guess. There are 2 things, I guess, generally that I wanted to, I guess, kind of need a little bit of action. At the economic director level, some of the stuff we've started in terms of wanting to collaborate with other counties, we've met as directors and had lunch a couple weeks ago. Barton, Pawnee, Barber. Is there anybody else that was actually there? Kiowa was not there, but was involved in the discussions. Same with Pratt, Edwards. Anyway, a couple of the things that we've talked about that we can act on immediately is the green line, transmission line, trying to influence where that, in particular, the transmission station is located. Right now, they're targeting Ford County. We can try to influence their decision, put it in Edwards County would open up a broader range of developable area, including Stafford County, which I don't think we're gonna get any action out of it at all if it's in Ford County. So, working with Edwards County in particular, they are a designated zone for the New Market Tax Credit Program, which is the best hook I can come up with on why to try to convince them that moving from Ford to Edwards would be financially advantageous for them. So this tax credit program could provide on a project of that scale a fairly large incentive. Anyway, we'll work on it. You know, Edwards and Barton have been cooperative in trying to, you know, in kind of advocating that point of view too. Don't know where it'll go, but we're all talking. Anyway, second thing is, we kind of expressed the idea that we all, as directors, probably get a lot of requests on helping with grant applications, and wouldn't it be great if there was a broader range of people that felt comfortable or qualified to submit and write these applications. I went through a training 10 years ago that I felt like it really served me well. I kind of checked into if that training was still going on. It's a woman based in Bozeman, Montana that offers them around the country. And she gave me this kind of her deal on if she were to come here and do a class. Classes are generally 25 to 30 people. We wouldn't have enough people from Stafford County, obviously, to fill a class, but if we work together with the other counties, we could probably collectively offer that class. Kansas Health Foundation has a grant cycle open in mid-March. I could apply for a grant to pay for the grant writing classes, but and really, as I've told the others, it's not so much even just grant writing. It's a lot of the setting yourself up in an organization to be successful. So, it's really probably better characterized as successful grant seeking, which is things like, you know, your organizational capacity, the needs assessment, which that's kind of very much coordinated with what Doris is working on. The evaluation part of it, a lot of them will want you to lay out in the beginning what your measures are for whether this funding is doing what it's supposed to do. So that evaluation part of it is part of what the training involves. Designing your project, board development, long-range planning, and then, yeah, sure, the wording of the application. So, don't fall out of your seats. To host the class would be about $22,000. But Kansas Health Foundation grants pay for projects up to $25,000, and I think that this fits with the kind of thing that they're generally pretty open to. They pay for consultants pretty routinely and have a very broad interpretation of what community health is, to include leadership and just you know, good capacity of social service organizations. So I would need to make that application under the counties. You know, the county would be the applicant, so I'm asking for authorization to do that, I guess. You know, it would be, I would make application to Kansas Health Foundation. And the other thing is, I've talked to these counties about whether we could jointly, you know, apply for it. I mean, there's got to be one that actually is submitting the application, but I'd look for letters from them that says, yes, we support this and we will intend to participate in it, which I think will also help strengthen the application significantly. But Barton has said yes, as has Pawnee, Rice, and Barber. Edwards, Kiowa, Pratt have said that they're interested but haven't made a firm commitment to it. But I think the 5 counties we've got a base that do something like that. So the costs break down to, you know, consultant fee, travel expenses, and materials. You know, it's like $80 a person for the materials, the book that they provide.
So all you're asking is permission to pursue the grant.
Right.
And if the grant isn't approved, then you're not going to come in and ask us for the money, right?
Yeah. I'm asking for full funding from Kansas Health Foundation so that in the end it wouldn't cost anything to the county. I mean, be the conduit for the funding.
Sounds great.
I'll make a motion. We allow to apply for that grant.
Okay, I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we allow Carolyn to apply for the grant. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
Yeah, and I hope we'll get it, because, I mean, that's kind of going along with our lines of trying to get the surrounding counties as a one voice, so.
Well, yeah, I think not only, I'd like to kind of strategically invite people to participate in this, such if we get it, you know, so that we have someone from hospitals, schools, library, you know, the kinds of organizations that typically qualify for charitable funding, but also the services that, you know, we need to build here. And I've kind of made the case to the other economic development directors, just by virtue of having us all together in a 4-day, it's a 4-day class, that we might be able to come up with what those issues are that we can kind of rally around. And because I think that's kind of one of the things that we've talked about in our meetings, is it really helps to have something in particular that y'all want to rally around, and we don't know exactly what that is at this point. We don't have, you know, in some parts of the state, it's kind of fallen into the lap, you know, the gas development forces them to all kind of work on an issue or something. We don't exactly have that at hand.
What issues do you guys talk about?
Well,
What have you been discussing?
well, I mean, we'd all like to identify what the industry is that we're well suited to develop, but I don't know that we exactly have that at hand. I don't know.
Well, the wind is one of them
And the
that we
wind.
seem to have a common interest in.
Right. You know, it could be something related to healthcare. I don't know. That's the thing. We don't have a specific economic, in a sense, almost a crisis, almost is helpful in unifying people if we don't have that particular thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention, regarding the hospital, we've, you know, had several community sessions, and we haven't had one in Seward. So one has been scheduled March 13th, 7 p.m., which is a Tuesday, at Mom's Bar and Grill. And so if you'd like to participate in that.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Tuesday, what day, March what?
March 13th. So we can from tomorrow.
Okay.
And we've been working with the hospital on a couple of different grant possibilities, and we submitted one on Friday. We won't know until June if it'll be funded, but submitted one that will provide for, among other things, exercise classes around the county, including the northern part of the county. So,
Okay. Is there any
no, actually,
anybody talking about the Hudson area for a meeting? I know I brought it up several times, but it seemed to get enough feedback to justify it.
I guess I'm sensing the same thing. I don't know. Maybe the rules.
I think, I know that Rita went up there one Monday night and talked to some people.
Okay.
Just,
She has attended a Dollar Hamburger night,
Yeah.
just in an informal sense.
And
You're
did
right.
she get much discussion?
Rita,
Berman.
she's the interim,
Oh,
the
yeah, I
hospital
remember her.
administrator consultant.
Exactly what the date. I mean, I think she felt like it was a
Well,
good thing to do, and
Yeah.
I don't know
I
any
think-
specifics, but she said she talked to several people. And I don't know what, you know, something else got in, come to conversation. And, I mean, that would be,
Well, I thought the one at Radium was good. I mean, there's obviously some, I don't know the right word, concerns up in that part of the county, as you can imagine. And at least they have some information to work with now. So we'll see in Seward next week. But I don't know, I just can't get that scenario to, come down.
I haven't heard as much dissension from that.
Well, they're frankly, they're just mad at the hospital because Dr. Bauer's not there. I think, beyond that, I don't think that there's, you won't find the same feelings there as you do in the radio for that. Because logistically, they're only 10 minutes away, 10 to 12, so it makes sense for them. But, anyhow, okay.
But I did, as far as communication among the people of the county, we learned that we need to put stuff out at the sporting events and
Well, yeah, I think we're starting to figure that out, and I think them being up there, gave them a good idea last night. There is an organization, there is community up there. They just don't know how to reach it, and them just being there went a long way towards that, I think. And then that drive home, they have to go, man, this is a long way. I'm missing the ball again.
But, I mean, we can put hospital services and all that on the county website. All that takes is an email to Pat, she can post it.
Yeah.
And,
We're not linked now? Hospital has its own website,
yeah.
right?
but are we getting all these linked together is what
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do.
We're working on it.
I even found out that, the South Central Kansas Tourism has this wonderful website. And no one's putting anything on it. I mean, Stafford is not excluded, but there's other communities that, I don't know, you just don't have the time to type in those words. So I think make some effort in that.
It's gone.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody have
No, I think we've emptied out the hall.
any recess?
No, I just want to attend it, I was probably going to make it. I need this resolution passed.
Yeah.
That's for you're approving the Santa Fe Trail Solid Waste Authority's committee report.
Yes.
We do it every year.
Yes.
And we have tax.
We have three,
corrections.
two or three tax.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2012-7 in regards to the Santa Fe Trail Solid Waste Authority.
Second motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, we accept resolution 2012-7. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
They all take it, son.
3 tax abatements.
I make the motion we approve these tax roll corrections.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded, we accept tax roll corrections. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. You need to sign this? Commissioner. Anything else? You guys have anything?
Now, how long is, we be at Larned at noon?
11:45.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
If you want to wait, go into recess again, what do you want to do?